She screamed like she owned the forest. Jack answered with a piece of paper. Her voice cracked the silence, wild, sharp, shaking with power she thought she had. Jack didn't flinch. He just raised the paper higher, like a mirror she didn't expect to see herself in. Jack didn't lower the paper. He didn't blink either. He'd been screamed at before, but not here, not on this trail, not with that sign behind him. His boots sank half an inch into the old dirt, the same soil he used to rake clean each fall, alone, long before anyone cared to mark the boundary lines. He could feel the leather of his watch band, warm from the sun. It hadn't missed a beat since '96. Her voice cracked again, sharp, condescending. Each word was meant to shrink him. But Jack had already done the math. Her clipboard couldn't erase a memory carved into tree roots. He adjusted the fold of the paper, just slightly. Enough for the red approve stamp to catch the light. He didn't raise it higher, didn't need to. A few feet back, someone whispered, "That's Jack Marlowe, right? Thought he sold the land." No, he never did. He just stopped talking about it. Jack heard every word, but his face stayed unreadable. Quiet hands, still boots. Eyes locked just above her shoulder, as if watching the storm pass before it even hits. Then, calmly, Jack turned his wrist and looked at the time. It wasn't about proving anything, just reminding everyone what time it really was. He didn't move, but something inside him did. The breeze shifted, a colder current slipping past the trees like breath held too long. Jack's eyes drifted, not away, just lower, to the roots near his feet. The pine in the center of the trail was younger than the others. He'd planted it with his father after the fire, just the two of them. Just this stretch of land. That summer was bone dry. Ash still clung to the trunks for weeks. Jack was 12. His father's boots were too big. The gloves kept falling off his hands, but he kept digging. One root at a time. One promise at a time. "We don't own it," his father said. "We owe it." That sentence never left him, not when the board paved the entrance, not when the surveyors came with new stakes and new maps, not even when they replaced the old sign with a red one meant to scare. The tin box was still in his truck. It rattled when he turned. Old scans, folded corners, something soft inside that used to be sharp. He hadn't opened it in years, not because he forgot, but because part of him hoped he'd never need to prove what mattered most. The clipboard woman kept yelling. She had no idea what she was standing on. Jack took one step forward, boot heel pressing deeper into the soil. The wind paused, not a silence in the world, just in him. He remembered the smell of burnt bark, the quiet after the fire, the first time he saw green return to the edges of this path. It wasn't land, it was memory. He glanced down at the pine again, then slowly looked up, not at her, but through her. Like you'd look at someone who just stepped onto your father's voice and didn't even know it. The first thing Jack noticed was the sign. The old one was gone, the one he carved himself. Private trail since 2003, with pine sap still in the grain. All that remained were 2 rusted nails and a square of lighter wood, cleaner than the rest. He didn't say a word, just stared, long enough for the wind to settle around him, long enough to feel the silence change. No one mentioned it. Not the woman in lavender, still shouting from 10 paces away. Not the man beside her with a clipboard tucked under one arm like a verdict waiting to happen. Not the young couple whispering into their phones. Someone had removed the sign, quietly, confidently, like they expected no one would question it. Then came the notice. Printed, folded, slipped under his gate. No name, no header. Just language that tasted official. Unauthorized signage poses a safety risk to community members. Non-compliance may result in procedural reassessment. Jack folded it once, then again, then placed it in his back pocket, not because it meant nothing, but because it meant something deeper than it said. He remembered the meeting last spring, how she spoke just a little too long, used terms like collective liability, how the map on the easel had shown the forest edge, redrawn by half a mile. Jack's boots shifted in the gravel. His fingers rested near the spine of the tin box, like it might steady him. The air smelled like sap and sweat, but something beneath it, colder, processed, paper and ink pretending to be law. A child pointed at the missing sign and asked, Why did they take it down? No one answered. Jack didn't move, but something behind his eyes did. A slow squint, a breath held, then released like the calm right before a man walks into a fight. Not with fists, but facts. Jack didn't go inside. He turned, not toward the gate, but toward the bench beneath the sycamore. The box was still there, unmoved, a faded tin lid, bent at one corner, too tight on humid mornings. He sat, not because he was tired, but because he wanted them to wait. One hand reached in, pulled out a folded paper, torn, soft, too many times opened. He didn't read it, just smoothed it out flat on his thigh. A woman from the crowd laughed. That paper again? Sir, the council ruled on that years ago. Jack didn't reply. He just held it up, high, like he was showing it to the wind, and that's when the boy spoke, not older than 10. Peering over someone's shoulder, reading the red stamp aloud. Approved! The laughter stopped. Jack stood slowly, tilted the paper so the sun hit one line. A name near the bottom, small, angled, smudged, but there. M. Denton. Someone gasped, not loud, but real. Jack's voice was quiet. He didn't raise it, didn't need to. That seal was printed 6 months before your committee ever formed. The woman in lavender stepped forward, face pale, clipboard lowered. He continued. Because back then, this trail wasn't under review. It was personal property. And your mother signed the last line. Whispers broke out behind them. Jack didn't look back. He folded the paper, carefully, like it was more than evidence, like it was inheritance. The wind carried the sound of crows overhead. A hand reached for the paper. Jack pulled it back. It's not yours to file again. Silence, thick, not out of fear, but exposure. He stepped forward, placed the paper gently on the post where the old sign once was. No nail, just weight and truth. And the crowd, for the first time, looked at her differently. The wind picked up again, blew through the trees like breath through teeth. She stepped forward, finger still raised, voice louder, shriller. This land was reclaimed. That paper was never binding. No one moved. A door opened behind the pines. An older man walked out, slow, balanced. He held nothing but a thermos, but he stood at the edge of the trail and didn't blink. Another neighbor stepped down from her porch. No phone, no clipboard, just eyes. Watching. Jack didn't step back. He didn't even flinch. He reached toward the old post, took the weathered sign, private trail. Since 2003, raised it, held it steady, then set it back on its original nails. Didn't say a word, didn't need to. A boy tugged at his mother's sleeve, pointed toward the pine. Mom, is this her land? She paused, swallowed. No, baby, not hers. HOA heard that. Her lips trembled, but the sound stopped. She turned, looking for allies. No one met her eyes. Someone from the back whispered, she signed it. I remember, her mother did. Another voice, softer, older. That pine? That's Jack's dad's mark. Always was. Jack looked at no one, just fixed the paper beneath the sign, pressed the corners down like he was sealing a letter. HOA pointed again, but it was slower this time. He's manipulating. He faked that stamp. But her voice cracked mid-sentence. No one answered, only the sound of a screen door creaking open. Jack turned his face toward her, not cold, just still. You knew what it was. You touched it anyway. He stepped away from the sign, left it standing, unmoved, and behind him, the silence held longer than her words ever could. The crowd left slowly, one by one, no words, no sides. HOA stood there, just a figure in the dust, gripping silence like it could still help her win. Jack didn't look back, didn't need to. He took the tin box from his satchel, walked to the old pine post, hung it on the nail below the sign, didn't lock it, didn't label it, left it open, like memory should be. Inside, the torn document, the faded sketch of the landline, a photo, 2 men, one younger, one older, both smiling, both holding fishing rods, sleeves rolled up. The wind picked up. The paper fluttered, lifted at the corners. Jack didn't reach for it, just stood there, eyes soft, but fixed. Behind him, a dog barked once, then quiet again. A porch door clicked shut. The forest returned to stillness. No voices, no shouting, only the red sign swinging gently in the breeze. Hunting permitted. Trespassers may be hunted down, still there. But now, everyone read it differently. Jack stepped off the trail, not hurried, not slow, like someone who had finished planting something, not to be harvested, but to be left. By the next day, the board was cleaned. The box stayed. Someone had left a folded note inside. No name, just 6 words. Your father would be proud, Jack. No one ever asked who wrote it. No one needed to. And from then on, the trail stayed quiet. Not because it was marked, but because it was understood. There was no ruling, no fine, no broadcast. Just a pine post, a tin box, and a man who didn't need to raise his voice to be heard. Some trails aren't on the map, but they're known, marked by hands, worn by years, carried in silence. Justice didn't arrive with sirens, or judges, or posts online. It came with a folded note, and a name only one man remembered. The pine still stands. Not because it's protected, but because someone still visits. Sometimes it's not about fighting louder, but standing longer, holding steady. Even when you're called wrong, the paper wrinkled, the board faded. But truth doesn't rot with wood. It lingers, quietly, like the smell of tobacco in an old coat, like a lesson a father once gave, never written, never raised, just handed down with a glance. Some things don't need to be declared. They're understood, by the way we walk away, by what we choose not to take back. Not all victories feel like winning. Some feel like coming home, to what was always ours, even when no one else saw it. There are things that don't need to scramble, as long as we still keep the land and the calm.